What's going on, people? Sean Pierce Johnson here at Winter NAMM 2020, and as well, Dusty from between the Buried and me is shredding over on the side of the other side of this wall. I'm sitting here with my buddy Bryan from PRS because there's a lot to talk about in PRS land. First off, I'm gonna put the microphone over on this side so I can get it to his mouth.
Hello.
Good to see you, buddy.
Likewise.
How you been? How you been so far?
Can't complain. Getting to sit around and play neat guitars all day. Not too shabby.
And there's a lot to talk about this particular year for you guys.
Yeah, I feel more than normal. There's always some, always a couple really big things, but I feel like this year I have to talk to everybody and go, okay, pick the handful of big things you want to talk about because there's a lot.
Yeah. Well, and it's fitting because this is the 35th anniversary.
Sure. Yeah.
So you're at a bit of a milestone year, and it kind of makes sense. You guys did, with what I have in my hand, you guys did preview some of the SEs a little earlier, or I shouldn't say earlier in the year, late in 2019. So we kind of knew what was coming, but then you also had stuff that you guys dropped this particular week. Yeah. So let's kind of talk a little bit about overall changes to the line, because there's so much more than just new models. We're starting to see things shift a little bit.
Yeah, so there's a few sweeping changes, like the finish on all the core models is they're switching the thing they're calling it NOC. It's nitro over cellulose, and the way Paul has described it is very similar to what they would be using on Fenders in 1964. Like, nitro is often misunderstood. Not all nitro is the same. Nitro has a lot of great properties, but it's also can be very difficult to work with, and it can be very temperamental and cracks. And a lot of people like the way an old guitar looks when it's all cracked. But Paul would say, if I shipped this guitar and the finish started cracking, people wouldn't be happy about it. They don't want this guitar to look, that way. So, but a very hard and strong base coat and then with the nitro on top of it, that was for a long time a private stock option. Okay. Now it is what is going on. This past year, they've been working hard at getting that to exactly where they want it for both the way it feels and looks and sounds and all that. And across the core line is nitro, including some of the S2 guitars. Like the S2 guitar I have here, we'll talk about, has that nitro. So he's also gone through and worked on revoicing pretty much all the pickups in the line. So even if the pickups haven't changed dramatically, he's gone through and made some subtle tweaks using what he calls the Tci process, which is, if you go to the PRS website, there's a really great video of Paul describing what that actually is and what it means. But it's kind of a fine-tuning process of dialing in the low note exactly the way he wants, the mid-range note, the top-end note, so the pickup is exactly balanced for what he wants it for that guitar. And he kind of describes it similar to mastering a record, like it's that final tweaks. And it's a process that he kind of developed or discovered in a way when he and John Mayer were working on the pickups for the original Silver Sky. And just a new way for him designing pickups from maybe a different mindset, different process, going, this is exactly what we want in the end. How do we get exactly what we want, and not just randomly try different winds, different magnets until it goes, yeah, I think that's right. And what he discovered in that process, he then went and changed the pickups in what is the Paul's guitar and called those the TCI pickups, and has now gone through and basically TCI'd all of them. So
he's been busy the last year.
Yeah, well, he and his entire team, and it's hard to make a change in one guitar, let alone all of them. Yeah. So those are some of the big sweeping changes. A lot of new guitars in great price points. The one you're holding, the one I'm holding, are instruments that didn't exist at all in any way, shape, or form in these price points for PRS. Yeah. So these aren't just some new colors and some new, these are brand new things for guitars that were only available to people with a much higher budget than, what they'll be able to do with these instruments.
Right. And we pulled a few of our favorites off the wall, and some that I think that we should definitely take a look at, especially considering the anniversary. Touching on this particular guy right here, as soon as I saw this, it shot me right back to 2001, Morning View had just come out. The video for Wish You Were Here is on MTV, back when MTV still played music videos, and TRL was possibly the greatest thing on television for a teenager. Seeing this particular kind of guitar, this thick-bodied, hollow body PRS playing these very heavy riffs was just something that I did not expect to see happening, and yet now we have an SE version of it here. And there's not just one version, there's two versions of the hollow body in the SE range now.
Yeah, so what you're holding is the hollow body 2. So just like the hollow body 2 in the core line, that means that there's a maple top and back. Two sides of maple is what the hollow body 2 is. The other one is a hollow body standard, and in Paul speak, standard always means all mahogany.
Got it.
So the hollow body standard is mahogany back, top, and sides. This has maple top and maple back with mahogany sides, mahogany neck. That guitar will have the exact same pickups than the one that I have here. Those are the 5815S's. That has the same wraparound adjustable tailpiece that you would find on a core instrument.
With the brass inlays?
Yep, yeah. The mahogany, all mahogany version will street for $999. So a hollow body PRS for basically $1,000.
Pretty much unheard of.
Never thought I'd see it. And they sound incredible. And they sound different for sure.
Yeah.
But I think and not even a better or worse, it's just like this is a laminate guitar. That's how they were able to do it in that price point. So a bent laminate guitar cost a lot less to make than a all carved guitar. But a laminate guitar should not be looked upon as a bad thing. No. Some of the most iconic hollow body guitar tones in the world are laminate instruments.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the sought after, guitars that go for tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars are laminate hollow bodies that sound amazing. So don't think of that word as some sort of negative
right.
connotation.
At the end of the day, it's not MDF.
Right, yes. So the best thing to do is not listen to me tell you about how cool it is. Find one and play it, and I think you'll be surprised at what it looks like and what it sounds like and what it costs. Doesn't seem to make sense in the PRS world. It's a lot of bang for the buck.
Well, another thing that I think we could definitely say bang for the buck was when you guys introduced the S2 line. It kind of made USA PRS very accessible, and you guys have done a lot with that line over the year. But I'm excited because the 594 has been incorporated into it. I know we bonded over a particular rosewood-necked 594 at the very first GitCon. I still have beautiful, haunting dreams of that guitar. Now we have something very similar in the S2 line, and one that I heard this guy playing a little bit not 10 minutes ago. Oh boy, was it sounding sweet. So tell us a little bit about this sweet guy right here.
So the 594, which originally was released as a double cut and then came out a little while later as a single cut option, both of those are available now in the S2s. And as all S2s are, they are flat top with a bevel, which makes up a good portion of what the cost savings is, the amount of physical time it takes, and especially in the sanding stages. So shaves off maybe 10 hours almost of hands-on labor time and to build those instruments. That's where a big chunk of that cost savings is. So there's an S2 version and a core version of both the single cut and the double cut. This particular thing is a brand new guitar. It's within that McCarty 594 family with the same scale length, two-piece bridge, the 5815S pickups. The toggle switch, if you notice, has moved here, and it is a thinner body guitar. This is the thin line, not thin line as in a semi-hollow with a single F hole, but thin line as in a thinner body. This is all mahogany, where the other 594s are mahogany back, maple top. One thing to really note, though, which is not just a new model in the S2 and probably one of the most popular models now in a totally different price category. Right. S2 before was another way to keep those costs, the build costs down, is there was one neck. It was a one neck shape. Everything was 25-inch scale to keep the production running and the cost down. The 594 is based off of the name of the scale length, 24.594 inches. So that has this, and this one has a wide, thin neck profile, and the other two have the same pattern vintage neck profile that you would find on the core. Right. So new neck profiles, new scale lengths, new options for the S2 all around. So, and this guitar, I believe, is $14.99. Quite a bit of a savings compared to what you've been able to get any 594 up until now.
It's crazy to me over the years, because I've owned SEs since the original runs were started, and just to see how much more guitar we're getting for as little money as the consumer at the end of it has to pay for. You guys seem to be leading that charge, and it's always amazing to see. I feel like every year I come here, it's always like, oh yeah, we made this guitar at this price point now. It's just an amazing thing to hear.
Well, I mean, there's a team of people, of course, but I would say one person that really stands out in that is Jack Higginbotham, who has been with Paul since the 80s. So, I mean, he started off, I believe, as like body sanding. I mean, just like everybody did. He started off working, a bench job somewhere, and for a long time he was the president of the company. He worked his way up to that rank. He is now I believe, the COO, but he's basically running the SE department, and out of passion. Part of the reason he stepped back from being president was he wanted to devote time. He had all these ideas. He really saw the SE as a thing that he could grow and refine and build partnerships with the factories overseas that they work with. And it's a constant back. He's constantly back and forth. Doug Shive, who also they are really just knocking it out of the park. Just without. I mean, there's so many moving parts to doing this and doing it not just well, but doing it to the standards that PRS is known for. It's not just about how do you build an inexpensive guitar, how do you build a great instrument that hits all those high watermarks that Paul has always set, without compromising the brand integrity, but putting them into as many people's hands as possible, regardless of what your budget is. And really, Jack and his whole team have done an amazing job. And every time I walk in and they have something new that they show me, like, check this thing out, and I was like, I can't believe this is an SE behind us.
And this is the 35th anniversary sort of tribute SE.
Yeah, it's a custom 24. The 35th, or the anniversary guitars are always based on the custom 24 because that's the flagship. That's the guitar that started all. And this SE version, it has the new carve that's on Paul's guitar. It has the little two mini toggles for coil splits. It's got real shell inlay. Obviously, because this is a laminate top, they can actually put tops that rival 10 tops and artist package on SEs. Sometimes the SE tops are some of the most amazing looking tops. So if you were to see somebody playing that on stage, and
you would never know it's an SE.
No, and really, it's hard to think of it. An SE doesn't really, to me, I don't think of it. I mean, it's $1,000 guitar. It's not a cheap guitar,
No.
Compared to, it's like getting a Ferrari that's $30,000. $30,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if you're like, but this thing drives, and is amazing and is fast and handles great. It's a lot of people would buy a $30,000 Ferrari if they made one. So
I'm sure they would.
I really kind of feel like that's where those guitars are landing.
Well, there's a couple other things that I would love to touch on. We're going to have to wrap it up real quick. One thing that know we will bond over is the maple neck on the Silver Sky. Yeah, let's mention that really quick. So for me, with this particular color scheme, astute viewers of the channel will remember a certain blue-hued Stratocaster with a maple neck that I used to have. Maybe this is in my future.
This is one of my favorite colors. There's two new colors for 2020. Midnight Rose, which is almost kind of looks like a burgundy mist that's kind of faded. And then there's a Polar Blue. It's a lighter blue. But all 8 colors are available in rosewood or maple. So this is not like an exclusive, you have to get if you want this. But the other difference with the maple, it's the same neck profile, same pickups. But aside from having the maple fingerboard, it's also a satin nitro.
Fantastic.
Feels great, sounds great. If you love the idea of the Silver Sky but are more of a maple fingerboard fan, now you have the option.
Now I have the option to replace the guitar that I had to get rid of. It looks almost exactly the same, so who knows what's going to happen. Hopefully 2020 will be good to me. Bryan, thanks so much for taking the time, and thank you, Jeanne, for letting me do this, and thank you to my camera girl, because this is the last video I'm doing here at the show. It's time to hang out with my friends, so if you enjoyed this, please show some support by clicking the subscribe button, ring the bell, turn on the notifications, and I will see you all very soon for something not from the NAMM show floor. Until then, my friends, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, wishing you all out there great tone and happy stomping. Thank you.